Welcome back, students. Welcome to this class. During this class, we will study about some of the applications of thermal expansion. So we will see where and when thermal expansion is used and how it is playing an important role in our daily life. So starting from the starting, so these are the applications of thermal expansions of solid. Following are few applications of thermal expansions of solid. Railway lines. Railway rails are made of steel. They expand in summer and contract in winter. If the rails are fixed tightly, leaving no space for expansion, they will bend with rise of temperature. Because when they will bend, they will temperature will rise, and they will bend. So it will result in damage of the railway track. So if you look at, they will bend with the rise of the temperature. This will cause uh, the limit. Small distances are usually left between the railway to permit expansion without having track bow. So this is the main reason, because the railway tracks are made of metals, and there is a property of metal which we have studied many times in this chapter as well. What happens? It is considered that the tracks are made of metals, and these metals have tendency to expand after heating because vibration of the atoms increases with the increase of the temperature, which results in the increasing the size of the railway track. So there are some other types of the construction. There some special structure or the spaces are left in the terms of fish plates and others, so that they can slide over during the time of expansion, and they can contraction makes it easier. If it is not followed, then it is danger of bending and their plummet. So that is plummet. That is the main danger that the railway tracks turn over. They bend, so they can cause a huge loss in the case of life and in the case of property as well, if the special care is not taken. So remove tight glass stoppers from a bottle. This is an ancient, and this is an old technique to remove. When you put the bottle inside the water, the expansion takes place, due to which it loses, and it becomes easier to open. Curved pipe in desert and plains. Pipes passing through deserts and plains curved to allow expansion and contraction due to change of season. So fixing a fire ring to a cart wheel, this is the most the old time type of the tradition. The cart wheel, they use iron ring around a tonga. Wheel is made slightly smaller in diameter than the wooden wheel, so that it can easily adjust. And at the time when it takes extension or contraction, it helps the expansion and contraction of the ring. So loose overhead transmission lines are sometimes left loose, so that during that time the contraction takes place during the winter season, so that it is safe from the uh, damage of breaking the transmission line. So overhead transmission lines are given a certain amount of a sag, so that they can contract in winter without snapping. So gaps between roof girders and the girders, steel bridges. The gaps between roof girders and the steel bridges, because these are the examples where the expansion takes place. To make the expansion easier, gaps are left. Gaps are left at the ends of the roof iron girders, steel bridges, to give room for expansion. Usually one end of the iron structure is fixed, the other one is and is allowed to expand in summer into the left out gap. Gaps are left out. One side is fixed, other one is left in the gap. The fixed side remains as it's on, but the free side is able to expand. So it helps. facilitate further expansion of the rod. So this is one of the main benefits of leaving the gaps. So here is another example, bimetallic strip thermostat construction. Here we are using two metals. One is brass, other one is iron. Both have the different types of melting points. So the expansion is different. One will expand earlier, the other will expand later. So there is a time difference between the two metals, time difference of expansion. The bimetallic consists of two thin strips of different metals, such as brass and iron, joined together as shown. On hitting the strip, brass expands more than the iron. This is a brass. It expands more, but it can't move to the other side because iron is attached with it, so it bends. Brass expands more than the iron. This unequal expansion causes bending of strip. It is playing an important role by automatic switch and other types of appliances which we are using, fridge, refrigerator, and other items which we are using at home. They are they are having a bimetallic strip where one expands later than the other one. Other expands earlier, and it makes the bending of the metal in the direction of the metal which has long time for the expansion. So these are some of the uses. It is used in electric iron. These are bimetallic strips, electric iron, refrigerator, electric oven, fire alarm, air conditioner. These are some of the areas where this bimetallic strip is used, and it must be clear in your mind where it can be used. Electric iron, refrigerator, electric oven, fire alarm, and fire air conditioner. So here was the one construction of bimetallic strip. The other one is the gap between guiders in the steel bridges, and then fixing a iron ring in a cart, tanga, and loose overhead transmission lines to facilitate, make it easier in the time of winter season when it contracts. This loose part helps to maintain its shape. To remove of tight glass stoppers, one of the application, curved pipes in desert and plants in deserts and plants, curved pipes after getting heat, then they become curved. So here it is railway tracks, gaps are left which causes recruitment and also the bending of railway tracks. To avoid the bending and damage of the railway track, space and gaps are left, and fish plates of construction is used to facilitate the expansion and contraction, which is under with the principle or in accordance with thermal expansion. So these are some of the applications of thermal expansion in our life. Hope you people have understood and you will revise the main points of the thermal expansion. I thank you all for your patience with this today.